Hey, everybody. Hope you're having a good day, a good week, a good year. I'm Brian Jones, and this is Discover a New You. And glad to be able to be here all together and share a few thoughts and ideas about meditation, spirituality, heartfulness, and other things. So I see that people are starting to join in. So if you'd like to, just say hello in the chat and put your name. And if you'd like to put where you're from, that would be great. So Murli Dharan, welcome. So glad you're tuning in. So today I'm going to talk about prayer as vacuum, which is a little different kind of take on it. So anyway, there's, as I've gotten older in my life, I have reached a point where prayer has become very important and necessary. I become more of a prayerful person. Originally, early on when I was young, I wasn't really into prayer. I was brought up in the Christian tradition. My father was Catholic, my mother was Protestant, and so I got to experience both of those churches, and I that wasn't a great experience for me. So I never really had a very good feeling about the concept of praying. That just didn't resonate with me when I was younger, and even when I was early on in the heartfulness practice. This prayer we have, prayer of the mission at night, that we say, that I wasn't given to that either. And it took me quite a while to eventually learn how powerful it is and how important it is. And like I say, now that I'm older, I see that prayer from a totally different perspective now. So, okay, so a few other people joining in. Ravinder, welcome. Bhutan, Kiran from Mumbai. Hi, Kiran. AC Ajay Kumar, welcome from Kerala. Great. Hey, Claire from Donegal, Ireland. That's nice. I'm half Irish. I've always wanted to go to Ireland. I hope to get there someday. And Michael Rozdova from Washington, UK. Fantastic. My wife and I had the great pleasure to have a stayover of about 5-6 days in London in 2020 when we were on our way to India. And we had the best time. We're not big vacationers per se, so this was a rare treat for us. We had such an amazing time in London. We really enjoyed it, and we really wanted to take a tour of the countryside, and we didn't have time to do that. But next time I would like to see the rest of England and see Ireland, and it would be great. So thank you all for tuning in. So let me get into the topic today. So prayer is vacuum. So I want to start a little differently, I think. What I want to share an experience that I had. As I mentioned, I wasn't really big into prayer, but one day I was walking through the woods, and it was just a beautiful morning. It was a little bit misty, just kind of almost a mystical kind of a feeling to it. And I was not thinking anything in particular. I think I was just feeling a sense of divinity, feeling a presence there, feeling, oneness with being in nature. And as I'm walking, suddenly out of the middle of just nowhere, a prayer descended into my mind and heart, perfectly clear. And I want to start off by sharing this prayer that descended to me with you. And it's so simple. You won't even have to write it down. And you can address the prayer in any way you'd like. So let me address it in a couple different ways. I'll start with from a personal guide or spiritual master, as obviously I've had a spiritual guide or master for many decades. So the prayer would be, Oh, Master, take this little self of mine and replace it with yourself sublime. Now, we could also interchange that word with, heart or divine self. Oh, heart, take this little self of mine and replace it with yourself sublime. When we close our eyes and say a prayer like that, immediately, we're just in this prayerful state. We immediately slip into um, a humble feeling, and we are presenting ourselves as who we are. This is who I am. Take me as I am. Take this little self of mine and replace it with yourself sublime. You could also say divine if you want, but I like this word sublime. It's very it's just a wonderful feeling about that word. So I wanted to share that prayer with you because this is the type of prayer that can be said, anytime. Because very often as we go through our life, we face a lot of different situations. And sometimes on occasion we're having to face a difficult situation, or, sometimes we just roll out of bed and we're not in a very good mood, let's face it, or maybe something suddenly troubling us, or maybe something from our past, or maybe something that happened at work. So this is the simple kind of prayer that we can use at any time, just to slip into the prayerful state. So I invite you to try that out. Now, why am I wanting to talk about prayer as vacuum? Well, historically, prayer has been an asking type of prayer. We're asking the higher power, whether we call it God or the divine or the self within or whatever we call it. And we're asking for help, usually something very specific, either for ourselves or for someone else. But, the difficulty, I think, is that when we're in this asking, we are also sort of spelling out the result that we want. So, for example, we might say, "Oh, you know, higher self or God, please help my brother-in-law. He's has a drinking problem, and please help him stop drinking." So, what we do is we insert the solution that we want. And so we're kind of saying to God, okay, God, here's the deal. Here's my prayer, but this is the result I want. So, that's what I'm asking. So, get working on that one. Yeah. And so it's a funny situation. So, but in heartfulness, we have a different approach to prayer. And one of our spiritual guides, Babaji, talks about this. He said if we want to say a prayer that really connects to that highest source within, we have to ourselves be in a place within that's very quiet, that's very still, but yet focused. And when we can create, we don't even need words. We sort of just presenting ourselves as we are with this vibration. We're presenting ourselves like a vibration, like a feeling. And he said, when we take this approach without spelling everything out, we just present the feeling, the need, that the source itself, which is pure, It's not something like a thinking, judging God. It's just this purest something. It resonates. It will begin to resonate with our heartfelt resonance. So now we have this resonance happening at our level, and that causing a resonance at the highest level. And in this way, that the source can go about presenting a solution or providing a solution. It may not be the solution that we want. We may not understand how things work out. And sometimes we don't get an answer. Many times we don't get an answer to our prayers. And I don't know why that is, except I would say that a lot of times our prayers are wants. That's one thing I would say. But I think the other thing is that sometimes we are needing to undergo whatever it is we're undergoing. So, for example, if we think about that I'm trying to overcome fear. So now the natural inclination might be, oh Lord, please help me overcome fear. Okay. But in fact, what might actually happen is we might be placed into a situation where we're forced to have courage. Think about it. We might be put into a position where we're forced to have courage, to learn to be courageous, right? So in our asking, oh, please help me overcome my fears. The only way we can really overcome our fears is not by some higher agency suddenly removing our fears. It's by developing courage, right? So that's how we become stronger. And that's how we overcome our weaker tendencies. And there are many things like this in our life. And I think that's one reason why when we pray, we don't really have the clear understanding of what's going on. And, I want to mention that the other thing and this is really important, is that prayer is asking, but meditation is receiving. Prayer is asking, and meditation is receiving. And it's said that silence is the language of God. So how in the world are we going to receive if we don't learn that language of silence? So, meditation and prayer go somewhat hand in hand. Of course, in meditation, it's more than just receiving answers to our prayers. In meditation, what we're doing is really, we are allowing ourselves to create a state within that's similar to our subtlest divine state, so that we're being able to become the purest expression of ourself, becoming the total divine being that we are. And that's really what we're attempting to do, because we feel fragmented. What if we didn't feel fragmented? There'd be no need for prayer, right? So we clearly feel that there's the small self I, little I, that is sort of buffeted about by the winds of life, and then we have an innate sense that there's something more to us. We call it the higher self. So we know, and sometimes we have a longing, that, I don't know why I have such a longing. I feel like something's missing. And what feels like it's missing is a part of ourselves. We don't feel complete. We don't feel complete. Because when we do reach a point where we do feel totally complete and whole, as we almost always do at the end of our meditations, okay, there's no need for praying. Has anyone ever said a prayer at the end of your meditation? Think about it. No. Why? You don't have any needs. You feel complete. You feel whole. You feel fulfilled, filled up, right? So we never think of praying when we feel like we are complete. In that case, then we're in a new sort of state where whatever comes, comes. Whatever comes our way, be it something wonderful and positive, or be it something difficult and challenging and trying, maybe something hurtful. When we're in that meditative state, we can more easily accept the things that come our way in life with an understanding. With an understanding. And the understanding is very important because we understand, okay, I understand why these things are happening to me, and it doesn't mean we understand all the details of things that happen to us. It means that I understand that what's happening to me is a result of my past. It's a result of my conditioning. It's a result of my impressions, my samskaras. That understanding really helps us. It takes the edge off. It's not that we still don't feel the pain or the hurts. We do, or the sadness or the loneliness. Yeah, we feel those things, but not so much. Instead, we begin to shift to resting on that presence that's always there within us. That divine presence. It's something that we feel, especially we can perceive it at the end of our meditation when we've reached that place of samadhi and we become so absorbed. And at the end, we all feel like we're in a state of union. So, in that space, prayer is not so needed. So anyway, these are some of my thoughts about prayer and why it's important that if we do have a need, we create this vacuum within us. And even these gestures that are historical gestures for prayer, like this, if you just look at this position, it's immediately bringing us all in alignment, in total oneness. I can see why this became a popular gesture for prayer. It's a powerful gesture. And the other gesture is like this, the hands just presenting ourselves as we are in a humble spirit. So powerful. So this is the feeling that we want to create within when we offer up our silent prayer. Babaji says, he talks about our inner states often as subtle, subtler, and subtlest. And if we think about prayer, okay, the subtle prayer would be maybe the spoken prayer, where we're actually speaking out loud. The subtler prayer will be the mental prayer, where we're thinking the prayer. But the subtlest prayer is the prayer where there are no words. And Babaji says the subtlest thing is the most effective and most powerful thing. So, it's something to be practiced. But the simple prayer I gave you earlier, take this little self of mine and replace it with your self sublime. I think it's a real simple one, and it really helps get us to that prayerful state almost instantly. So you can experiment with that. All right, everyone. So look, I think it's time to meditate. I'm kind of feeling that we should start. And today, let's do something. Let's try something. I'll guide us into the meditation. If you're here for the first time, don't worry. I'll guide us into the meditation, and we'll sit quietly, silently for about 20 minutes or so. And then you'll hear me say that's all. But today, when I guide us into the meditation, I'm going to offer up that simple prayer. And we can all just feel that together. And let's see how that impacts our meditation. So, with that, let's sit comfortably. So, very gently close your eyes. And let's bring our attention to the area of the heart. Feel the heart is softening. Feel there's a lightness in the heart. Now let's rest on this source of this softness, the source of lightness. O divine source, take this little self of mine and replace it with yourself sublime. Let's stay with this thought. That's all. So let's take a moment and witness how we're feeling. Rest in this simplicity. And just know that this meditative state is going to remain with you through the rest of your day. Whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. Oh, such stillness. So, before I sign off here today, I talked about what a beautiful word sublime is in context of this simple prayer. Uh, Take this little self of mine, replace it with yourself sublime. So I would like to read the definition of the word sublime. Of such excellence, grandeur, or beauty as to inspire great admiration or awe. Wow. So sublime is of such excellence, grandeur, or beauty as to inspire great admiration or awe. So now you can see why this prayer is it's just so wonderful and so simple and so honest. So please enjoy that. All right. So I'd like to thank all of you. Angie, hi, Angie. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Anil, Anuruddha, Murali Dharan, MP Knapp, Saraswati, Padma, Bhutan Kiran, okay, Rachita, yes, Michael, okay. So everyone, thank you so much for being here today and taking the time to meditate together. And I wish you all the best in the rest of the week. And as I always say, stay with the heart. All the best.